Across the northeastern states of Nigeria, life moves with a quiet persistence. Markets open at sunrise, children walk dusty roads to school, and farmers tend fields passed down through generations. Yet beneath the routine lies a decade-long struggle, a conflict that has displaced millions and reshaped the Lake Chad region. To understand how this began, we must return to a time when frustration, poverty, and a search for meaning created the conditions for a movement that would later become one of Africa's most enduring insurgencies. Around 2002, a religious preacher named Muhammad Yusuf began holding sermons in the city of Maiduguri. He spoke against what he called the moral decay influenced by Western education, government corruption, and widening economic inequality. Many young people, facing unemployment and lack of opportunity, found his message appealing. What started as a religious study community known locally as Boko Haram, loosely meaning Western education is forbidden, was not initially violent. But tensions grew. The movement refused participation in modern political systems, challenged local religious leaders, and clashed with authorities. In 2009, violence erupted between the group and Nigerian security forces. The confrontation was brutal. Muhammad Yusuf was captured and later killed while in custody. Instead of ending the movement, his death transformed it. A new leader emerged, Abubakar Shako, known for his uncompromising and extreme ideology. Under Shako, Boko Haram shifted from activism to armed rebellion. Boko Haram launched attacks on police stations, churches, markets, schools, and entire villages. The goal was to destabilize everyday life and weaken the authority of the Nigerian state. By targeting schools, the group symbolically attacked the very system they believed corrupted society. This violence forced hundreds of thousands of people to flee their homes, creating one of Africa's most severe displacement crises. In April 2014, Boko Haram abducted 276 schoolgirls from the town of Chibok. The incident shocked the world. The story spread global awareness of the insurgency, but it also revealed how deeply communities in the region were suffering. While some of the girls eventually returned, many remain missing, and the emotional scars endure. In 2015, Boko Haram pledged allegiance to the Islamic State, forming the Islamic State West Africa Province, or ISWAP. But not everyone within Boko Haram agreed with the direction. Internal disagreements over the treatment of civilians, leadership style, and ideology caused a split. ISWAP sought to present itself as more organized, focusing on military targets, setting up checkpoints, collecting taxes, and attempting to govern territory around the Lake Chad Basin. Meanwhile, Shako's faction continued to use fear, coercion, and indiscriminate attacks. The two groups began fighting each other, turning the conflict into a multi-sided struggle. Another faction, Ansaru, formed earlier in 2012. Inspired more by Al-Qaeda than the Islamic State, Ansaru focused on kidnapping foreign workers and targeting Western-linked interests. Operating mainly in the Northwest, the group has remained smaller, but its presence adds another layer to the complexity. Why do these groups survive? The reasons are deeply rooted in social and economic realities: limited access to education and jobs, weak government presence in rural areas, community grievances and distrust in institutions, smuggling routes, and unguarded borders. Some join seeking purpose or income. Others join under coercion. In communities where the state is absent, armed groups sometimes fill the vacuum, offering protection, justice, or even basic goods. The true cost is borne by civilians. Over 3 million people have been displaced across Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Villages have been burned. Families separated. Schools and health systems disrupted. For many, daily life is shaped not by ideology, but by the struggle to survive. Nigerian security forces, supported by multinational military coalitions, continue operations to reclaim territory and disrupt militant networks. Progress has been made, particularly against Boko Haram's original faction. Yet ISWAP remains active, adapting tactics, recruiting fighters, and controlling areas around strategic waterways and trade routes. Peace remains a long-term project requiring not just military solutions, but strengthened education, economic opportunity, local governance, community reconciliation. The story of Islamist insurgency in Nigeria is not simply one of conflict, it is a story of ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances. Understanding the roots of the crisis is essential to supporting solutions that respect life, dignity, and hope for future generations. The path to peace is difficult, but it begins with awareness, empathy, and sustained commitment from within and beyond the region. Today, the situation in northeast Nigeria remains tense and highly dynamic. Although government forces have weakened Boko Haram's original leadership, insurgent groups have not disappeared. In fact, recent reports show that both Boko Haram and ISWAP have increased their operations again, rebuilding strength and launching attacks in areas once declared safe for civilians. One of the most concerning trends is the targeting of communities where internally displaced persons, also known as IDPs, have returned after years of living in camps. In September 2025, an attack on one of these newly resettled towns left dozens of people dead. This tragic event highlights how fragile the security improvements truly are, and how quickly violence can return even after a region is labeled stable. At the same time, ISWAP has grown more organized and more strategic. Unlike earlier years, when insurgent attacks were mostly chaotic and unpredictable, ISWAP now blends military assaults with governance-style operations. In several territories around Lake Chad, they collect taxes, enforce their own rules, and attempt to control local trade routes. Reports also indicate that the group has adopted more advanced technology, including the use of drones for surveillance and combat planning. The Nigerian military continues to conduct large-scale operations across the northeast. In multiple confrontations during 2025, security forces struck insurgent camps and claimed major battlefield successes. However, insurgents have responded with ambushes on military bases and convoys, showing that both sides continue to adapt. The conflict has also become more complex due to infighting between factions. In late 2025, Boko Haram and ISWAP engaged in violent clashes against each other, resulting in heavy casualties. This internal rivalry does not necessarily improve safety for civilians. Instead, it increases unpredictability and leads to new waves of displacement. The humanitarian impact remains severe. More than 3 million people across Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, and Chad are still displaced. Food shortages, job losses, and interrupted education continue to affect families across the region. Many aid organizations warn that the crisis is not fading. In some areas, it is intensifying again. Despite ongoing challenges, hope is not lost. Local peace initiatives, regional cooperation, and continued pressure on armed groups all play a role in shaping the future. But long-term solutions go beyond military force. The keys to restoring stability include improving security, creating economic opportunities, strengthening public services, investing in youth, and rebuilding trust between communities and state institutions. The conflict in northeast Nigeria has lasted more than a decade. Its next chapter will be defined not only by the actions of governments and insurgents, but by the strength and resilience of the people who continue to live through it. Understanding the present is essential because peace, when it comes, must be built on the lessons of the past and the needs of the communities most affected. Subscribe, like, and share to get more topics like this from this channel.